Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Young Hustlers right here on the Cardone Zone. It's so good to be here today. I've been out of town the last couple weeks. Was in Australia helping expand the GC brand down there. So many amazing things happening right now for us and for our company, and y'all get to come along for the ride. So I'm so glad to be back. Today we have got a great topic, hot topic, probably number one question that I get from people hitting me up on Instagram or Facebook. So if you have questions, you just want to go ahead and jump in the line right now for the queue. 305-865-8668 is the call-in number, 305-865-8668. Every Thursday at noon East Coast Standard Time, you can count on us bringing you a show about sales, about business, and how you can get more of what you want faster. And today is no different. The show topic today, is it time to quit your job? Hands down, without a doubt, more than any other single question that I get, people ask me, hey, how do I know if it's time to leave? Should I do this? Should I move on? Should I try to get another job? At least every day, I get this question. Is it time for me to leave? And so I'm going to go ahead and just tackle it, an entire show just based on this one question. So if you have questions on your job, your situation, and you want to know if it's the right time for you to leave or if it is time for you to leave, then give us a call. Natalie's waiting for you. She can't wait to talk to you. 305-865-8668. I want to make a quick announcement before I get into the show, though. This is really important. We just missed the hurricane here in Miami, Hurricane Dorian, but it smashed, it demolished the Bahamas. It's the worst storm that they've had there in 100 years. Grant wants to help, so he is committed to giving literally 100% of every dollar that goes towards GrowthCon tickets for a limited time to the relief efforts. We're going to send them a big fat check. So if you've been waiting to help the Bahamas, if you've been waiting to purchase a GrowthCon ticket, now gives you an opportunity to do both. So basically, a $500 donation to the Bahamas gets you an executive level ticket. $2,500 donation to the Bahamas gets you a VIP ticket. $5,000 gets you a premier ticket. And a $10,000 donation to help the people in the Bahamas gets you a free diamond ticket. So you can take advantage of that, 10xgrowthcon.com/Dorian. Help the people out. They really need it. And we're committed to continue using the platform to do good. So speaking of doing good, show topic today. Is it time to quit your job? It's a serious question because there's a lot of implications to leaving a job. And I want to start by sharing with you a story of myself. So when I first started working for Grant, I had never really done this job, cold calling business owners. I had never really had that as my job. Like, I had made cold calls before, but I was calling people for mortgages. I was typically talking to the end user, the person who was going to get my deal. Calling businesses was a completely different thing for me. And so the first 90 days were very challenging. They were very hard for me. I was learning new things. I thought that it would be going better, faster. I thought that I came in, I was making $2,500 a month was my base. So I was living in LA at the time. It's hardly any money in basically any city that you live in America, but especially LA. So it was really tough, and I had a lot of struggles. And when you're not producing and you're not performing and you're not confident with what you're doing, like, you start going through all of these things. You start wondering, is this the right place? Am I really as good as I thought I was? Like, you have to confront so many conversations in your head because your mind just starts racing because you're not getting the result that you want. And so because you're not getting the result that you want, you question the vehicle. And so about 90 days in, I literally almost blew the biggest opportunity of my life. 90 days in, I was almost ready to just say, you know what? I just need to quit. I need to go back to San Diego, and I need to try again, something new, something different down there where I know people, I have some familiarity, I have a little bit of a network. So 90 days in, I almost blew the biggest opportunity of my life. Like, looking back now, I can't imagine what my life would be like or how different it would be if I hadn't had the opportunity to come work for Grant. today I'm the president of the company, and 9 years ago I'm looking back ready to quit. So if you're in a position right now where you're not confident, you're not secure, you feel like you want to quit, this show is for you. It was one thing that I changed for me that literally took me from looking outside thinking I was going to leave to, dude, I need to anchor in right now. This is, I need to make the most of this opportunity. And it was the one thing, the single thing that changed everything for me was this. Man, who did this? Who did this? Did you do this, Nathan? You got to use the thick one, man. Got to use the thick one. Commitment. Commitment was the thing that changed it all for me. And I promise you, no matter where you're at in your life, if you're in a job that you don't totally dig, if you're not where you want to be income-wise, maybe you're in a job and you're looking for like that next level, but for some reason you're not getting there, or maybe you're at the top of your game and there's just something missing. 90% of the time, if you boil it down to commitment, what you're going to find is you're truly not 100% all in. So here are 3 questions that you need to ask yourself regarding if it's the right time for you to quit your job or not, okay? Number 1 has to deal with commitment. Are you all in? For me, I wasn't all in. I wasn't fully committed. I hadn't made the go all in, burn the ships commitment, and my results reflected that. And so because I wasn't getting results, I started looking at, hey, what's wrong? You start getting all that self-talk in your head. You start having all these doubts and everything. And so I start going, well, it can't be you, because at this time I really hadn't grasped the concept of high levels of responsibility. That's a game changer for sure. But for me, I was like, well, it can't be me because I've had some success in the past. I've done the sales thing before and it's worked. It can't possibly be me that's the problem. And I remember I read one of Grant's programs. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but it was just talking about responsibility. And it's like, dude, you can't control things that you refuse to accept responsibility for. And I remember that it was like the perfect moment in time for me to hear that. It was exactly what I needed to hear when I needed to hear it. And I just asked myself that question. Are you all in? Is this the job or is this you? And I'm going to guess that most people who are in a situation right now where they have doubt or they have lack of confidence in the long-term prospects of the job that they're in or the career that they're in or the company that they own, 90% of that will all boil down to commitment. Because if you're not all in, you won't have creativity. If you're not all in, you won't have this insatiable push and drive and persistence. If you're not all in, you're going to lack inspiration and motivation. If you're not all in, you're going to lack discipline. If you're not all in, almost everything that comes after that will suffer and you won't get the results you're looking for. And then you're going to end up in a situation where you're asking yourself this question: is it time to quit my job? Is it time to move on and look for something else? So number 1, are you all in, committed, burning the ships? That's the first question. Second question. Are other people in the same role doing better than you? So you look in your role, and I'm just going to use sales because that's an easy one for me to talk about, and I believe everybody actually is a salesperson. And so what I want to do is I want to go to, are there people in my environment that are better than me? Okay, so number 1 question is it time to quit your job? Number 1 question is, am I fully burned the ships, all in, committed? I knew I wasn't, so as soon as I went all in, production started changing. I mean, I cut everything out. I was like, it was gym, work, and meals. That was it. There was no socializing, there was no dating, there was no nothing. It was complete all in, burn the ships, like I'm going deep right now. The second thing that I had to look at was, are there people doing better than me in my environment? So if you're a salesperson and you're wondering if it's time to quit your job or look for a new job, and you're making 60 grand a year or 70 grand a year or 80 grand a year. The next thing you need to ask yourself after are you all in, which the answer is probably going to be no, you need to ask yourself, are there people around me that are doing better than me? So if you're a salesperson, you're making 80 grand and you're asking yourself, is it time to quit your job? And you look around and there's 7 or 8 or 3 or 1 or whatever. If there's more people that are doing better than you, then you need to take that as an indication that you're not fully committed, you're not all in, there's things that you don't know about your role. So like, if you're making 80 and people are making 120, if you're making 80 and people are making 100, if you're making 80 and people are making 200, you should not be looking for a new opportunity. You need to be looking at how you can go all into the existing opportunity. You need to be looking at how you can get better at the opportunity that you're in right now, the vehicle that you're in. Grant's talked about it, is the vehicle that's going to drive you where you want to go. So if there are people that are doing better than you, if you're a salesperson and people are outproducing you and outperforming you, it is not time to leave. It is time to double down on the opportunity. It's time to get more committed to the opportunity, and it's time to get more committed to like doing your job better and knowing more about what you do. You know, like number one question I get, is it time to quit my job? And then I'll ask them this question. Are there people doing better than you? And almost always they say yes. Almost always. So people, like, we get hung up into like looking outside. Now for me, you may be in this situation. For me, I was the only salesperson. Okay? I was the only salesperson. So when I asked myself this question, I'm going, are there people doing better than me? And I looked around, and at the time there really weren't any other salespeople. So this could be a little tricky. So then what I started doing was I started looking at how much money does the manager make? The sales manager we had at the time. How much money does Grant make? Like, these were the questions that I started going through because I didn't have anybody to compare myself against. So I looked at our manager. He was making more money. Okay, good sign. I looked at Grant. He's making a lot of money. I'm like, good sign. These are good indicators, okay? If you are a salesperson in a company, you're the only salesperson, you're making 100 grand a year and the owner's making 60, it might be time to look for a new job, right? Like there has to be something that fuels you getting where you want to go working for somebody else. And this is the key to making money working for somebody else. The third question you need to ask yourself, so number 1, are you all in? Number 2, are there people doing better than you? Number 3, is there more you can learn? Is there more you can learn in your role? You know, for me, like I remember I had a job for it was a $1 billion company. I was a salesperson there. I was ready to leave when they made some changes that I didn't agree with. But I didn't leave right away because I knew that, man, there were still things that I didn't know. I stayed for another year. There were still things that I didn't know. I was still making good money. I was the number 2 rep in the country. Like, so when I go through the litmus test of are there people doing better out of hundreds of salespeople, I was number 2. So like as you move down through this list, you're like, okay, I checked that box, I checked that box. Then the third question was, is there more I can learn? And for a period of time, there wasn't. But then I got to the point where I was making more money than practically everybody in my same role in the company. I was making more money than my manager, right? Go figure that. And I knew that if I wanted to go to be the VP, which was the person who was the next in line that was making more money than me, I had to go through 2 people underneath them, and they were locked into their jobs. So then at that time, I was like, okay, time to roll. So, like, 2 reasons you should work somewhere. Number 1, because of what you earn, or number 2, because of what you learn. When those 2 things stop, when you stop having opportunity to earn more, when you stop having the opportunity to learn more, then you're not moving forward. Now, it can be okay to have a period or a moment where you're not moving. Like this is okay. The challenge is that people, they'll get to a position, they've been with a company for 2 years and they have a month or two where they're not feeling it, and then they quit. And then they got to go start somewhere new, and then they got to go learn a new job, and then they got to go learn new things. They got to learn how to work with new people and new systems, and then that one doesn't work out. And then they end up jumping around for 3 or 4 different jobs over a period of 2 years because for 2 months, they lost a little bit of focus, they lost a little bit of drive, they lost a little bit of motivation, and they end up, because they couldn't just have a tiny bit of patience in that moment, they end up jumping around for a year or 2 or 3, extending a long time, periods of uncertainty. You've got to earn, you've got to learn. That's why we offer the ability for literally anybody here can go out and sell something and get paid a commission. Because we want people to have the opportunity to go make more money. You know, there comes a point where Mark, my assistant, can only be paid so much money as an assistant. Like that role is only so valuable. Like if he wants to make more than we pay for that role, and we had this conversation when he worked here, when he was interviewing to work here. I said, dude, if you want to make more money than this, I'll show you how. But you've got to go get that. You've got to go create that. And it's such an amazing exercise for people who typically aren't in roles where they are required to produce, because it gets them thinking about creation of revenue. And that is how in our organization we have everybody thinking about how to create more revenue, because we give everybody the opportunity to earn a commission on a product that they sell or a deal that they bring in. So like as you're evaluating like your situation, and if you're in this situation, I'm talking to you right now. Are you really committed? Can you say and feel good about it at night when you lay down and you go to bed? Are you fully committed, or are you just going through the motions? Are you just showing up, doing the same deal, running on the hamster wheel, or are you waking up excited because you're all in committed, and when that happens, you get more creative and more inspired? You're constantly looking for new ways to improve the quality or the product or the outcomes of the work that you do. Like, are you coming into work like that? Because when you're fully committed, you will show up each and every day like that. If you're showing up and you're going through the motions, you're collecting a check, you're waiting for the next opportunity to come along, you're killing time until you find your real job, like until you go all in, everything else beneath that will suffer. Second question you need to ask is, are there people in your same role making more money? Because if there is, that shows you that there's more potential than where you're at. And then number 3, is there more you can learn? Are you committed? Is there more you can earn? Is there more you can learn? Most people can't answer those 3 questions and in a way that would give them permission to say, I'm going to go find a new gig. So you got to figure out where you're at on this. You got to figure out like where I was when I was going through going, what am I going to do right now? What's the next step? Do I quit? I mean, there's more opportunity here. The guy that owns the company is making a bunch of money. The manager ahead of me, there's only one person in between those two. The one person in front of me is making good money. I need to figure out how to make this work. And then I looked at myself. This is a hard thing for a lot of people to do. I was screwing around on the weekends. I'd come home from work and I'd watch TV. I'd get stoned and then I'd watch a movie is really what that means. I wasn't really working out every day. Like I wasn't writing my goals down every day. I hadn't fully leaned into the opportunity. And once I did, everything changed. Your whole entire basis of operation changed once you do the first step, which is go all in and get committed. Then you start looking for ways to create more revenue and make more money, number 2. Then you start looking for ways that you can improve your abilities, your capabilities. Number 3, the things that you're learning while you're in the role that you're in. So answer those 3 questions for yourself, and you will have your answer. Let's go to a caller.
Yeah, you got Maxwell in Illinois.
Maxwell in Illinois. What's happening, brother?
Hey, man, literally just at work. How are you guys?
We're great, man. We're 10Xing over here.
Yeah. So basically, I was on Facebook in between. Let me just kind of bring you up to speed. I'm a lawn care technician, and so I'm out here taking care of people's lawns. And I was scrolling through Facebook in between stops, and I noticed that Grant Cadone had a live show on. So, and the title of it kind of drew me in. And I do want to quit my job, but I have, activity on my record, which kind of scares me on, going out there and looking for new opportunities.
Like you have like a misdemeanor or a felony or something like that on your record?
Yeah, and, I live in Illinois, and it's a cannabis felony charge. It's a non-conviction. And, Illinois just passed cannabis law, so I just kind of got screwed over at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. It just was a very unfortunate circumstance, and on top of it, I had my medical cannabis card for fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
So it was just a matter of me being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And, I just want to try and, better myself and get a better opportunity, make better money. And
yeah, so was it, let me ask you this. Was it like a possession charge or was it like a distribution charge?
It was both. They tried to, I never distributed, but, they twisted it when they raided my room and tried to find things to make it look like I did. But I never, sold anything in my life. I just used it for my disease, well, more so a condition.
Yeah, I understand.
So, yeah.
I had a condition too. That's how I got my medical card.
Oh, good. And, I thought I was doing my part in protecting myself and making sure that I was secure and having the card so I didn't get in any trouble like this.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, dude, the question getting back to, do you need to leave your job? I mean, particularly in your situation with the marijuana thing, if it's legal in your state now, I would think that you would have the ability or the opportunity to get with an employer and communicate your situation to them. And I think that they would be a bit more, we do background checks on people. But we won't completely disqualify somebody for most things that are on their record. We don't have to have people drive company cars. So if you have a DUI, that's not a disqualifier. If you got busted for smoking weed or possession of weed, that's not a disqualifier. But we drug test, so you can't really be on the weed, while you're working here. For you to understand where you could go and find your next best opportunity. First question is, you got to answer these 3 questions for the role that you're in right now. Number 1, are you fully committed or are you just showing up? Number 2, are there people that are in your same role that are doing better than you? And then number 3, is there more you can learn and ways that you can leverage the existing role that you're in right now so that you could develop yourself as a business person further? That's step 1. If you can answer all of those questions and it still indicates that you should move on, then what I would do is, if I were you, I wouldn't go for a big major corporation because sometimes a flag on the background check will just immediately disqualify you. I would go to a smaller company where you can go and you probably have the opportunity to talk to the owner of the business and you could actually plead your case face to face with them. Not a hiring manager, but the owner. And I think that number 1, that'll get you a better opportunity of getting a better job. But number 2, and probably more importantly, smaller companies will give the right people opportunities to make much more money than they can make elsewhere. Let me give you an example. If I at 20, and thank you for the call, by the way. If I at 26 years old would have gone to a corporate company, big billion-dollar company, number 1, I would have been capped on how much money I could make because most companies at that size, they have a little box that you're filling in a box or checking a box on how much that revenue that role produces, and they'll do whatever they need to keep people within that range. Even, cut pay. I got to the point where I was making, $220 grand a year, and the next thing you know, I get a 50% cut in pay because I got to fit back into that box that they're trying to make me fit into. So like those small companies truly give people like me the opportunity to come in, good skill, good drive, good motivation. You combine that with great opportunity, great leadership, and then you end up with an opportunity where at 35 years old, I can be the president of the company, making 7 figures a year. We got sales guys in the back making middle and high 6 figures. It gives you the opportunity to have much more upward mobility in a shorter period of time. So I would say, go to a smaller company, talk to the owner face to face, plead your case, because a smaller company is where you're going to have higher earning potential anyways. Got another one, Natalie?
Yes, we do.
Next caller.
We've got Prune in Toronto.
Prune.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for the call.
Hey, Jared, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, sir. So my question today is, so actually I called before in the show, and so I'm at a job and I'm not making good enough. So I asked my company to give me some more opportunities. So I'm good at social media marketing. So I told them, hey, could I do social media marketing for you guys for like free, and please give me a chance to prove myself, right, and to expand my portfolio. But they wouldn't. They just reluctant, and they're like really conservative too. They're like, oh no, that's fine, we'll do it, or we'll hire someone else to do it, or something like that. So I'm like, how do I? Because there's no more opportunity at work, and there's nothing more to learn. I was just watching.
Yeah, let me ask you. Prune. What does your company do?
So basically, they manufacture like transfer systems. So it's an automotive industry. So they manufacture transfer systems for like brake presses and die machines. It's like really mechanical stuff. So I'm a mechanical designer myself.
So let me ask you this: could you go to your manager or the owner of the company, whoever you talk to? Could you go and tell them, hey, I'd like to bring the sales team some additional opportunities. Would you be open to paying me a referral fee or a commission if I was able to generate some interest or some opportunities for the sales team?
I have already approached them with this approach. I told them, hey, like, let me do it. I even told them I'll cover the, whatever expenses on my behalf, and if I'll bring you leads. If at the end you close a deal, you pay me whatever, or if you don't, then that's fine. I don't charge you any fee for like even ad spend out of my pocket.
Yeah.
But they're just so reluctant to do it. They're like, oh no, they're just conservative. It's just like most of the people out there just been in the business for like 30, 40 years, and they're like, oh, we know what we're doing, and yada yada. So I'm just stuck there.
Yeah. So again, like it sounds like you're committed. You're trying to find new ways to do what you do better. You're trying to find ways to do more. You keep bringing them, and by the way, just because you bring a possible idea and management turns it down doesn't mean you quit your job. So it's like if you keep coming with new creative things to bring them, new ways to create revenue, new ways to create leads, risk-free ways for them to grow the business. Like if you continue to bring that over and over and over again, and you continue to get no, then they could be the type of company that's just trying to fill a box, and they don't want to go outside of that. So if you can't make any more money there, and you are committed, and you're not learning anything new there, then it's time for you to go find a new gig somewhere else.
That's where I was confused too. Like, because I even give them so much opinions and comments on, hey, let's use this software, or let's do this, or and they're nothing risky, like scheduling softwares, or even like you guys have like sales programs. So I recommend them, hey, have your team on there. At least I told them it's at least try it. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. Like there's nothing.
Yeah, and again, depending on how those conversations are happening, I'll listen to anybody's idea, but we have a lot of things that we're doing on our own as a management team already. So if somebody that works on the sales support team comes up and says, hey, we should sign up for this program, I think it'll really help us, I'll take a look at it, but that doesn't mean we're going to sign up for it. I mean, like when you make a decision to sign up for something, there's a lot of commitments that go with it beyond just money. So you have to also understand, like there's a perspective of the business owner or the business operator or the business manager that you have to take into consideration. What I would do is I would go and I would start trying to find ways to create opportunities, find a salesperson, and start giving a salesperson opportunities. And let them start closing deals. And then go, hey, I've been trying to create some additional opportunities for the company. I've been passing them off to Jared in sales. Jared's already closed 3 deals worth $300,000 to the company. I'd like to find a way to get compensated for this. Would you be open to that? And if they say no, then and they have proof and you've done the work and the deals have come through, leave. Right? So I appreciate your call, Prune. Hope that helps. Who we got?
Hello?
What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?
I got Brian.
Brian from where? Brian from the phone.
From Oregon.
Brian from Oregon. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I've got a question for you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm in, without disclosing the name of the company or the work that I'm doing. I'm a salesperson, and the company that I've just recently joined doesn't have sales scripts or like a sales process that they've initially created to give me or introduce to me in my role.
Right.
And so I'm right now, as I'm watching your show, writing the script that I intend to use to convince these companies to buy our product. Now, the issue that I'm running into is how am I supposed to phrase these questions after I get past, showing the value of the product? Like, if I'm drawing a line between what problem this product solves to the value it is in dollars for the customer, what else do I do after that to bring them closer to a close?
Yeah, so let me ask you first question. Let's just find out if you're in the right vehicle right now. How much does the highest paid salesperson in that company make?
Well, that would be the CEO. I'm assuming.
Well, just you're a sales. You're on the sales team, right? How many salespeople are there?
Me.
You're the only salesperson.
Yeah.
Okay, how many people in a leadership role are there between you and the CEO?
4.
So you have 4 people. So you have you're a salesperson, you have a sales manager, there's a sales director, and then there's the CEO?
Yeah, there's a sales manager, there's an account manager, then there's a VP, and then there's.
And all of them make more money than you?
I don't know their wages, but I'm assuming so, yeah.
Okay, good. So you can check that box off. It sounds like you're committed because you're trying to build a script, but it's a new job, which also means that there's a lot of opportunity for you to learn a new thing. So having checked all those boxes really quickly, the answer to your question is this. Questions in a sales process should be focused on 2 things. Number 1 is the needs of the customer. You need to learn about their current situation so you can determine the needs that they have, okay? Those should indicate the things that you need to show in your sales process in order to get them to say yes. The second thing that your question should focus on is how the company that you're working with or the person that you're working with has made decisions in the past. Because people are creatures of habit, and how they make decisions in the past will indicate how they will make decisions moving forward. So focus your questions on what are their needs, and then how have they made decisions in the past. How have you made decisions like this in the past? Are there people other than yourself that will be involved in this decision? Last time you made a purchase like this, did you pay for the full contract up front, or did you pay it per month? You understand what I'm saying? Like, ask questions about how they've made decisions in the past before. Last time,
I just kind of figured out that avenue of where that door is open for them. That's understood. I guess what I'm wondering is after I've found those doors and drawn the line between how that is valuable to them and the solution that we have, what else should I be saying or presenting before I ask Visa, American Express, or
Yeah.
check?
Yeah. I mean, dude, look, like if somebody says in my fact finding is a step of the process, right? So like the first step is the introduction. The second step is fact finding. Like when you're in that step, you don't really leave fact finding to go into the process. You want to ask all of those questions in that step of the process so that number one, you could build rapport. Number two, you can connect with the customer. Number three, you can understand what they need. Number four, you can understand how they've done business in the past. And hopefully that all of that data will tell you, this is exactly what I need to show this person in order to get a deal done. So when you transition into the presentation of the product, like for our product, we have 3 things that we show in our program, and we frame each of those 3 features around the problem that the customer is looking to solve. So then what we do is we say, let's say the customer says, hey, I've got really high turnover, okay? And reporting is one of the features that we're going to show. So we're going to talk about reporting and its relationship to turnover. So what are the things that reporting can do to help turnover? Number one, it can indicate people that are doing well. Number two, it can indicate people that are hungry. Number three, it can indicate people that are doing bad. Number four, it could indicate people that aren't committed because they're not even doing training in the first place. So I want to tie all those things together and show, hey, this is why the reporting piece is so important to helping you with your turnover problem. Then the second thing that we're going to show in the program is our curriculum-based sales paths. So I'm going to talk about those curriculum-based sales paths and how they are going to help solve the turnover problem. So I'm going to keep dragging these features of the program, the service, the offer back into those questions or those problems that I found in fact finding. And after I show a feature, I'm going to ask the customer, have you seen enough to make a decision? So based on our reporting and accountability, I can show you that we can help your turnover problem be solved. And if we could eliminate your turnover by 50%, then that's going to save you an extra $300,000 a year. Have you heard enough to make a decision? And then if they say no, then I'm going to move to the next feature. If they say yes, I'm going to say good, Visa, MasterCard, American Express. So you got to ask the questions to identify the problems, ask the questions to identify how they make decisions, and then show them the demonstration of your product in a way where each of the features are pinging the pain points. And after each feature, after the presentation of that feature, feature advantage benefit, then you want to just slide into, have you seen enough to make a decision? Trial close. Good? All right. So are you in the right job? Is it time to quit? Number one, ask yourself, are you truly committed? Most of you won't even make it past this step. Number two, is there opportunity to earn more? Is there upward mobility? If the answer is yes, you're in the right spot. If the answer is no, wrong. And then number three, are there more opportunities for you to learn, develop, grow, refine your craft there before you bounce and go somewhere else? So those 3 questions are the litmus test to find out if you are truly in the right job or if it's time for you to quit. Once again, we have a massive push right now going on the Hurricane Dorian relief efforts for the Bahamas. Worst storm in 100 years, completely wiped out. 100% of all ticket sales for the time being will go to relief efforts. We're not going to send over a bunch of supplies. We're going to go over. There's aid groups over there. We're just going to hand them a big check because they know on the ground what's needed and wanted, and we want to make sure that they can get everything that they need. So 10xgrowthcon.com/Dorian if you can help out with that. That's Dorian. Would love to have you help out. Would love to have you at the event, and would love to know if you are in the right vehicle. Thank you so much for being here on the show. Remember, the only people that condemn the hustle are the ones who've given up on the hustle themselves. We'll see you next week.